Okay, I got another speaker. Philip, if you would, please, sir. I'm happy to be here again. And I just wanted to say you guys already know who I am, and I'll give you a little background on that if you already know. So, before the whole thing happened in San Francisco where I got my teeth knocked out, I became famous because I stopped 2 riots here in Portland during the time that Black Lives Matter and Antifa were trying to burn down the federal courthouse. The first night I stopped them by myself. There's about 5,000 Antifa and Black Lives Matter. I went up there and I said, well, my life matters and I'm black and I'm tired of you guys burning stuff down in my name. I'm sick of it. It's a political movement. It has nothing to do with black lives. They've not given a single penny to black people, and that is a simple fact. They've raised over $1 billion. They could literally end slavery in the East if they wanted to. So, that's one way to know me. Also, another background is that I got my teeth knocked out in San Francisco October 17th, about 2 months ago, when Antifa came to attack us. They knocked out my front teeth, and the very next day I got banned on Facebook, I got banned on Twitter, I got banned on Instagram. They took down the GoFundMe to fix my teeth. They manipulated Google search results against me. They manipulated YouTube search results against me. They even put false information and fact checks. All the hundreds and thousands of videos that people were posting of me getting my teeth knocked out, of me getting attacked, even me just laying in the hospital bed. So I want you to know that when big tech does hashtag Black Lives Matter and boosts it, and liberals say Black Lives Matter, it's a political movement. They're full of shit. They're racist. It has nothing to do with black people. It doesn't. They're just manipulated. The most important thing I can tell you today is you've seen how the President of the United States was banned off Twitter. You've seen how Sidney Powell was banned off Twitter. You've seen how General Flynn, the war hero, was banned off Twitter. I saw it coming from a mile away. That's why I went to go protest big tech. But conservative Inc. MAGA stars like Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and Matt Walsh wouldn't do it because they were too scared to lose their online marketing. They didn't want to lose Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And that's the issue right here. We can't compromise. We can't say, well, this is the one thing I won't sacrifice. We have to fight all out. When I say that, I mean we need our own media. We can't just have CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CBS News all against Fox News by itself. Now we got the Epoch Times. Now we got OEN News. Now we have NTD News. And that's a good start. New upcomers. But we need a lot more news stations. On top of that, we need new streaming stations. We can't just have Netflix, Hulu, and Disney because they're brainwashing people to be Democrats, and lots of the movies on there. You can literally search Donald Trump on Netflix, and all it comes up is stuff about the Holocaust and Hitler. I'm not even kidding. You can look. That's how crazy it's gotten. We need our own search engines as well. DuckDuckGo is great, but we need more. And Google cannot be the default search. So we need to work hard to take back the country and to take back the culture. Because that's what's happening right now. They're taking back everything. They destroyed free speech. Big tech committed mass election interference in this election. The mainstream media did the same thing. And another thing I want you guys to know, is that COVID-19 was not a mistake. That was not an accident. That was done on purpose. Think about it.
Another police officer has died after killing himself due to the insurrectionist, terrorists, and white supremacists.
Stop silencing black voices! Stop silencing black voices!
Silencing a black man.
She won't even let me speak. This is the hatred right there. This is the hatred. She's talking about insurrectionists when BLM and Antifa burned down America for 6 months straight. And they called that mostly peaceful protesters, okay? So the one time that we actually do something, because our election was stolen, because big tech's been banning us, censoring us, shadow banning us into oblivion. They've been deciding who gets to be the next congressman, who gets to be the next senator. Of course we're mad. We've been treated unfairly. We've been beaten for months and months, for 4 years straight. We've been banned, we've been silenced, we've been demonized, we've been vilified, we've been fired, we've been doxxed, we've been expelled, we've been expunged, you name it. So of course they're going to be pissed off, and that's the reason why the Capitol was stormed. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump's rhetoric. It did not. It has nothing to do, because let me tell you something, the election was stolen. That's not dangerous rhetoric, this is a simple fact. It's already been confirmed by Italy that the election was stolen, that Dominion voting machines were corrupted, in Biden's favor. That's just a simple fact, and more is already coming out on that. And ask yourself, why was Donald Trump banned right the day before this came out? Why was he banned? We all know why. But I want to go back and talk about COVID-19 because it was not a mistake. Because all the craziness popped off when we only had months before the election, with BLM and Antifa burning everything down and yelling, "Oh, I'm oppressed, everything's terrible." But you still live here though. You could leave, but that's the thing, you're not oppressed. And the reason why they stopped all the rioting the day after Biden was announced the victor is because the systemic racism thing they're talking about is not nearly as big as they pretend it is. But with COVID-19, you have to realize that during the surge of the Hong Kong protests, millions and millions of Hong Kong protesters were protesting against their communist leaders. And then, right at the height of the Hong Kong protests, COVID-19 infects China. So, the Hong Kong protests end, and we haven't seen any other Hong Kong protests. It's pretty obvious why. China is now the #1 economy in the world. This all happens just months before the presidential election. COVID-19, BLM and Antifa, the big tech purge, it all happened right before the election. This was not a fair election, even without the voter fraud, even without Dominion voting machines being corrupted. That's why we have to fight to take back our culture, take back our country. Give them no turf. Don't give them a single inch. We must fight. Thank you.
Okay, I want to bring up a couple more people here. We have somebody that was in the Capitol on Wednesday. Kathleen, would you come up and say a few words, please?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kathleen. I'm a retired law enforcement, 21 years. I worked as a state parole agent in California. I worked in prisons, jails, juvenile halls, the whole thing. And I was at the Capitol. I flew out of Portland. I was there all day on the 5th. I have live feed videos going the entire time and photos constant up on my Facebook. It was a beautiful event. I started out on the 6th, just like everybody else. I was 50 feet from our President of the United States when he gave his speech. So I was on the front row. And I left around 1:30 in the afternoon to go back to my hotel because it was a long day, it was cold, and I could hear that there was stuff going on. I just assumed it was Antifa. But as a law enforcement officer, somebody that's used to pinning out and checking people out, I could easily see that there were people in our midst that weren't part of the group. I just assumed it was Antifa because all other rallies had people that would come in and pretend like they were Trump supporters. And I could see they weren't very friendly, they were stoic. It was clear, but there was over 500,000 people there. I saw zero issues. I dealt with taxi cab drivers, grocery store people, hotel. They were all happy to have us. Every hotel was packed. We were just as happy and friendly as could be. There was zero people wearing helmets that were part of the Trump team. I don't know anything about what went on at the Capitol because I left way before that. I didn't get up anywhere near it. However, I've seen a lot of videos since then. I saw Trump supporters who had GoPro cameras all throughout the crowd, so a lot of things got documented. I have tons of video evidence that shows for 2 days how calm and happy and there was zero issues. So there's a lot of videos from the DC White House, or excuse me, the courthouse, or the court building, that show that the cops were letting them in and they were just standing there. So there's a lot more going on, and all of that stuff is going to end up coming out. It already is, they're just not reporting on it. But I just wanted to give you something as a first-hand person who was actually there and can attest to there was zero problems up until that moment. So there you go. You're awesome!
Thank you, Kathleen. Robert, would you like to get up and say a word or two?
Yeah.
Robert West, ladies and gentlemen.
I want you guys to think about something. Okay, all these social medias, Facebook, YouTube, all these places are cutting us off. Parler, it's harder to put stuff on Parler now because Google says that they're not going to let Parler use their stuff. Also, I want you guys to remember something. I'm not the organizer, so I there's nothing I can do about it, but I think that we should have a moment of silence for the people, including the lady that was killed by police. An unarmed lady was shot and killed by Capitol Police.
An unarmed citizen.
An unarmed citizen was killed by
An 11-year Air Force veteran.
and she was an 11-year Air Force veteran. And I want you to think about that. That we had veterans there. We had police. There's two Seattle police officers that are looking at suspended and getting fired because they were there. All these people that are upholding our constitutional rights are getting messed around. And then we got these political police, and that's what the Capitol Police are. All they do is protect the politicians in the White House, right? Protect their corruption. And the people of the United States need to say enough is enough. You know, and that's what I hope people are out here doing, is saying enough is enough. You know, Facebook needs to get in trouble. YouTube needs to get in trouble. Google needs to get in trouble. They're censoring our stuff, but due to they're not a government agency, it's hard to turn around and say they're violating our constitutional rights. Because the Constitution was designed to protect the people from the government. And I want you guys to think about that. And like I said, I hope we have a moment of silence for those that were killed in the Capitol, especially the lady, that 11-year Air Force veteran that was shot and killed by Capitol Police because they're protecting their corrupt politicians. That's what I had to say.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks, Brother Bob.
I just want to say something real quick. You know, I follow this stuff pretty closely, behind the scenes, front of the scenes, whatever, and I have for a long time. I was an investigator for a long time, so I read all the court reports because I'm just a total nerd, and I haven't missed any of the hearings because I spent thousands of hours inside courtrooms because that's just what I did professionally. But just because I went to DC, just because I was there, I have heard that FBI are contacting people who were in attendance. It's just outrageous. And, you know, and I've also heard that people are having their bank accounts shut down just simply because they were there. That there's no evidence that they did anything, but that is happening like right now. So I have no doubt that somebody's going to be knocking on my door at some point in time. You know, and I'm just letting you know that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And then just when I was coming here, Facebook Messenger has now a new requirement that you have to agree to be tracked, tell exactly where your texting is going. So that's not gonna work for me. But I just wanted to tell that part of it, what the FBI is doing to those of us who were there in attendance but weren't involved. And there you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, everybody. Miles, did you have something else you wanted to say? Sarah, you want to go?
Not really, but I think I have to.
Oh boy. Let's go, Sarah. Somebody might need your
Okay,
mouse. Let's just push that trigger.
Yeah. Pulling the trigger, this is awesome. Okay. I am not a good speaker. I'm super nervous, so please bear with me. This is my first time doing anything like this. I've heard people say a couple of things today that really caught my attention. And I heard him talking about the identity politics and being black and how really you're just an American, right? I've heard other people talking today about how we're Americans. We care about our families. We want to be allowed to raise our children. That's what I want. I want to be allowed to raise my kids.
Amen.
So I think what I really need to say is that we have all of our social media, which he touched on also. You know what this is, right? What is this?
It's a tracking device.
It's a cell phone. It's a tracking device. Good answers. The thing about this is that if you have one of these, it's recording everything about you all the time. It records where you are. It records who you talk to. It records what you care about. If you're on Facebook, you're probably taking those stupid quizzes, right? I bet you probably know what dog breed you are, right? All of these little personality things. This device records all of that information that you put onto it. It records your family, your friends, what you care about, what your faith is or what your faith is not. what you love and what you hate.